Detective Comics 1091, Tom Taylor writing and MIKEL JANÍN on the art. So the thing that got the most conversation out of us last time doesn't even come up in this issue. Taylor's saving that in his back pocket for whenever down the line. So instead, we focus on stuff that we were nothing but positive about in the first issue, which is the idea of the serial killer going around and killing these troubled youths. And of course, this question of will Batman take this experimental treatment to make himself young again? At least, if not look young again, but at least physically feel young again.
Physically, yeah. And again, where can I buy some, please?
Yeah, and I actually had the idea at the end of this where, because the obvious thing, and it was especially because in the final page you see the villain who's going after these teenagers, and it does look like a woman. And I was like, okay, the obvious conclusion is that it's this, St. Clair lady who's doing the clinical trials thing. I did think, oh wait, is this where this is coming from? Are they stealing life force from these teenagers and giving it to rich adults? Because that's the vibe I was getting at the end of this, is that Bruce has accepted to take this, and we'll talk about his decision because there's actually quite a lot that goes into it. But by the time he takes at the end of the issue and he's like, oh yeah, that knee that I hurt last night feels much better. And then you get that ending, I went, oh no, he's going to feel so guilty when he finds out he's been stealing the life force of Gotham's youth. Because nothing comes for free, Matt. Nothing comes for free.
No free lunches in nature, as they say. That said, I don't know if it's necessarily her. I don't know if this is a red herring because it seems like she has noble intent, because Bruce even kind of questions her. Like, yeah, this is all great, but if it's only for the rich and powerful, we're creating a whole, different class of people, right? And she mentions, though, she's like, yeah, I understand that, but, of course, at first it'll be just for the rich and powerful, but because they live longer, they'll want to make things better. And I was just like, oh, no, you poor naive soul. Like, that's not how that works.
No, they're just going to terraform Mars. They're not going to make Earth better.
Yeah, they're just going to hoard more resources. They have more time to hoard now. But I do feel like her cause is noble, if not naive. So I don't know if that's the same person that's going through and, pulling life force from these kids,
Now, it's a different color, but the villain does have like a crazy color of hair, as does she. And that was the other connection I made, is like, oh, that's like a different color wig she's put on for this this antics. Anyway, to go back to the start of the issue, it starts off with a nightmare sequence where Batman imagines himself as an old man, and the kid that died last issue is his Robin, and the kid kills the Joker. And Batman slaps him. This whole thing was kind of darkly funny to me, but obviously he's having these nightmares about these kids that are dying on his watch.
Well, and then the him punching the kid when he goes, we don't kill, right? Is that the same,
it's
perspective?
It's very similar to the My Parents Are Dead. Yes, it's very similar to
that. That gave me a chuckle. I'm like, okay, Jannyn's having some fun here. And the we don't kill is up there with, like, you see parents, they'll slap their kid like on the hand and go, we don't hit. It's like, well, you just did, so but yeah.
So Batman's weighing up this decision while this is plaguing his mind. He goes to see Bullock for the autopsy of the teenager. And what I thought was, I actually really liked this scene because, one, it's interesting that Bullock sort of made sure he was on the case. He wanted this case because someone's killing these teenagers. And it's actually quite interesting that Batman has this moment where he kind of, like, how would I describe it? He opens up to Bullock, right? Bullock's not someone Batman would typically... I mean, Batman doesn't really open up to most people, to be fair. But... yeah. He obviously feels so guilty about the way he handled this kid, where he hit him when he didn't need to. And Bullock, of course, is like, hey, he just shot a guy and he had a gun in his hand. Like, you did nothing wrong, Batman, right? You're only human, or at least I think you are. That was a funny line. And he's like, no, I could have taken him down without harming him. I hit him, he got scared, he ran, and he ended up dead. So, like, I love, this is a really good way of showing that it's really weighing in Batman's mind. This is much better. I mean, I like the dream sequence at the start, but this is much better to me than the dream sequence, because it's like, he's opening up to someone he would never normally open up to, but he's airing his insecurities. He's saying, hey, punish me for this, Bullock. Tell me I did something wrong, because I know I did.
Yeah, it's a bit more personal than just the dream that he has to shake off. You know, because it's almost like he's doing a confession to Bullock. So,
yeah, he's seeking absolution
validation.
from Harvey Bullock,
Yeah.
which is a hell of a person to go to for such a thing. But it shows you
something
just
that you
where he is.
Yeah, something you normally don't do. But even Bullock doesn't seem like he's looking at it through police eyes. Or it's like, you know, he just shot a guy. I saw the footage. He was holding the gun. You know, just don't beat yourself up so much. You know, you did what any of us would do. So yeah, which I like that.
Yeah, no, I really like this scene. And there's during the conversation, Bullock says, oh, like all the other victims, this kid that has no one looking out for him. And at the end of the scene, Batman just says, Bullock, Sam does have someone. They all do. The implication being him, of course.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And you go.
I was gonna say real quick too that he was anesthetized with a high dose of like not a painkiller but like an anesthetic, and then he was cut really and then bled out. So also it seems like there's some surgical precision.
Yeah, so someone's taking his blood here. That again furthering my it's fuel for the anti-aging juice.
Yes.
So yeah, Robin's in pursuit of
the next kid.
Yeah, the next kid who's been taken off the streets. And he's like dangling off the back of a truck. So we get a fun little car chase where Batman like jumps up out of the truck and they end up sort of diving back onto the car with the teenager. But it's just, you know, it's mostly a fun action sequence. Plus, it's nice that Taylor's including some of the other Bat family occasionally here as well. So we get a nice little scene with Robin. But he's like, hey, Robin, take this kid to a hotel room, keep him safe. Because Batman goes off to see Superman. And he wants to talk to Superman and ask Superman's advice about this potential treatment, this drug. And much to his surprise, and to an extent mine, although I think the reasoning that Superman gives is quite good, Superman instantly says, yes, that sounds great, take it. And Batman's like, wait a minute now. I came to you to ask for advice because, you know, what I feel guilty that I'll be living longer and extending my life. And Superman goes on about how, yeah, I mean, you don't think you deserve to live longer than anyone else because you want to put yourself above anyone else. But the thing is, though, is that if you do so much good with the time you have that you'll help more people. So you living longer means that lots of other people will live longer. So, you know, but he also ties it into the guilt of like surviving Krypton and like, you know, all these people like, and also you're going to outlive everyone probably because you're Superman. You're going to outlive Lois. You're going to outlive your kid. Well, maybe not your kid because he's also super, but you know, lots of other characters. And he's like, yeah, you know what? We have to cherish the time we have. But yeah, it was an interesting conversation and it made a lot of sense. This is exactly the sort of thing. The idea of like Batman going to Superman for advice about this is exactly the sort of touch that I expect from Tom Taylor. And it doesn't surprise me that he thought of this, that this is who he'd go to talk this through. Sure, yes, if Alfred was around, he'd talk to Alfred first, no doubt about it. But he's not, so it makes sense for it to be Superman.
Right. Well, and then just the different perspective that Superman has on it. You know, or he was like, you're going to outlive everybody. And he's like, yeah, but, you know, we still, you know, if this is going to keep you as Batman for as long and you can ultimately help more people and then spread this amongst, then it's kind of wrong if you don't do it. I kind of like that little vibe check from Superman there. You know, it's kind of what would Batman do? Well, you're going to try to do the most to help the most, right? So do it, you know. I
like how this decision has been treated seriously, even though I do think he's going to end up regretting it when we find out what's fueling it. Which obviously Superman also doesn't know, otherwise he wouldn't be like, yeah, go for it. I think the weight that it's being given makes a lot of sense to me, and like I was saying last issue, like it feels like it's playing on a lot of things that they've been teasing in various Batman comics for the past couple of years of him starting to feel weaker, older, slower, so on. And the big thing, of course, in that previous car chain is that when he jumped out of the truck, out of the car, he popped his knee. So
his MCL, which is not a fun thing to hurt. Yeah, you know, it's one of your stabilizing ligaments.
Yeah, he's told, if you keep off it for a couple of weeks, it'll be fine. And then, like, he's like, you're not going to do that though, because you're Batman. You're going to push through that no matter what. So it's going to be agonizing. So good luck with that. So yeah, I like this. I will say nitpick in the art here because obviously Janin's excellent by and large, majority of
Yes.
the time. I do think there's one panel in this conversation with Superman where Superman's turning to talk to him. It's the panel where he says, but the opposite is also true.
Yeah.
His neck.
Giraffe neck.
What the hell has happened? Why does he look like his neck's like 3 times taller than it's supposed to? I don't understand.
Like Plastic Man. Like, you know.
Yeah. Why did he get elastic powers?
I think his Superman's not as strong as it has been, and I don't know if it's the shading, right? Because it's supposed to be towards, you know, a sun up and whatever. But yeah, his Superman doesn't look as great as it has in the past. You know, I mean, it still looks pretty good because it's still Yanin, right? But yeah, that one panel in particular.
Yeah, it's that one panel that's really my problem.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, Bruce agrees to do the treatment. He goes to see the lady, Scarlet, I think her name is, and also, yeah, the doctor who she takes him to actually administer a lot of the test is Dr. Forster, who that's the name of a character on Mystery Science Theater 3000. I don't know if that's intentionally a little nod or if it's just a coincidence, but
who has bright red hair, much like our killer, but the killer's is longer, you know.
Yes. I mean, she also has pretty evil looking eyes, so maybe she is the genuine red herring. Although I'm still thinking purple haired lady's the actual culprit, but I mean, I don't know. We'll see. So basically Bruce is like, okay, I have to like intentionally not do too good at this physical because they're going to and he even's like, I'm self-conscious about some scars because he realizes that they're going to ask too many questions about all the bullet wounds and various injuries that he's got.
However, the Playboy version of Bruce Wayne, right, is a guy that goes and does silly things. So there is good cover there. It's like his cover here is like, oh yeah, one too many high performance car wrecks. You know,
I think that would cover everything. I think except the bullet wounds.
Yes, the bullet holes. Yeah.
You know? Those are the ones that I think will still raise an eyebrow. But regardless, everything goes well. He's apparently already better for his age than most people, which makes sense. I mean, he's Batman. He's clearly still keeping in shape and eating well. But
and I'm looking at his bench here. He's got at least 315 on that bar. No arch, no leg drive. You know, Batman's jacked. If he could do this with a flat back, just raw, you know, no hand wraps, no grips, no nothing. Like, if this is him holding back, I want to know what his top bench is. That's all.
This is him raw dogging it.
Yeah, 100%.
Anyway, so Bruce talks to Damien after the fact, and also asks Damien to take his blood because I think he wants to check his blood. He wants to see what's in it. He wants to be able to see if he can reproduce it and make this something that he can give to people for free, people who need it. Of course, I think he's going to find something more sinister in there when he starts testing it. It's a funny little line though, because Damien's like, well, some fathers and sons just play catch, and you want me to take blood?
Because he gives him the syringe, and he's like, "What do you want me to do with that?" He's like, "I want you to take some of my blood." And that's what he was like. Some fathers and sons play catch.
Oh, honestly, that's better than what I thought he was going to say. When he pulled out the needle, I was like, "You could just take your own blood. I'm pretty sure." So I thought, wait, do you have to put this up up somewhere that isn't easily accessible? You need your son to help you.
Yeah. Dad, you have veins everywhere. Why does it need to come from your cheeks?
Now, Damien, Batman needs to be on the prowl tonight, and I have to make sure my prostate's okay. So get the gloves on, will you?
There's a holy joke in there, but I'm not going to make it.
the bat state, the bat prostate. I don't even know. There's not a good name for it. We'll just call it Barbados.
There we go.
Anyway, so the teenager that was kidnapped, he wasn't actually kidnapped by the killer. He was kidnapped by Penguin's men, it turns out, because this teenager had stolen some money that belonged to Penguin. So Batman goes to the Iceberg Lounge. He kind of mentions that he intentionally goes in the hard way to test these new sort of skills. Like, hey, do I feel better after that first treatment? And yes, he does. So
putting the stem cells to use.
So he speaks to Penguin and he's like, hey, that money that kid stole from you, I have it now. And Penguin's like, oh, so you're delivering it? You're not here to deliver it, are you? And Batman's like, if you can prove that it didn't come from crime, then I'll happily give it to you. And Penguin just goes, keep it.
Buy yourself something pretty.
That gave me a good chuckle, but Batman insists that the teenager's off limits. That you don't go after him. I'm the one who has what belongs to you now, so the teenager does not. He's not a target. Penguin doesn't like that. He's like, he took from me, and he's like, tough. I have it now. Take the hint. But the final page is the villain with the red hair, the longer red hair, it must be said, and basically a stealth suit, I'll call it. It goes to the hotel where the teenager is, and seems like she gets him. She grabs him by the neck at the end. So, good horror looking villain. Like, she's got a kind of a scarecrow-esque kind of quality to her vibe, I would say.
Okay. So she's called Asema, right? And so I just looked, and an Asema is a type of vampire, right? In vampire lore. Oh. It's one that's specifically, yeah.
I would say that's cool. I don't think that necessarily means that she is literally that. I feel like it's probably just a symbolic thing because she's taking her blood. Yes, because
she's taking blood, right? That's what I was going to say. So, So upon looking at that, I was like, oh, that's interesting. And also the redheaded doctor, Dr. Forrester, has said that, they have to test everything on Bruce because they don't want to waste this stuff on someone who's dying, right? So again, it gives a whole thing of people that don't deserve, whatever they have. And that seems to be whoever Insema is, that seems to be their MO as well. That's why they're going after these young criminals.
Because they're wasted life, yeah.
Yes. So I like that thematic tie through the storytelling.
Yeah. So there's a nice ideological thing for Batman to kind of, because he's all about taking people who are maybe don't have a future and giving them something to work for and strive for.
That's up until Damian. That's all the Robins, right? Well, Tim not so much, right? Tim had a lot going on for him. But, Dick, Jason.
Yeah.
So.
It's kind of this idea that he, it's kind of even the way he looks at criminals in a weird way is that there's potential for them to turn things around and become something.
Well, and that's his entire thing of keeping Joker alive, right? Because it's not, he won't kill Joker because then it makes him no better. But however, there could be something we're saving him there, off to Arkham.
I don't know if he believes that specifically about Joker anymore after all these years, but on principle, I think to begin with, yes. That's fair to say.
But
so. No, solid issue. Still really liking the serial killer plot, and I'm loving the weight that he gives to Batman's choice of taking this thing or not. And I suspect that there will be some regret down the line for it. But interestingly, the controversial element that we spent a long time talking about last issue, there's no more flashbacks to that this issue, so we don't know where we're going with that yet. But can't complain about anything in this issue because it was just, doing all this stuff we liked. So, yeah. All right, what are you giving Detective Comics?
I'm going to give this an 8.5.
Yeah, I think I agree with that. 8.5 for me.